well established and it's going really good, here is your worm egg.
Miren, el worm,
And that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
de la lombriz, miren, ahorita se lo
Thriving.
There was another one right there where I picked up. That's an egg.
Ajá, de aquí van a nacer, dice él que nacen hasta como 18, 20, pero nomás como 4 sobreviven.
No, if you're lucky, you'll get 2 worms. But right now in there, there's like about 20 in there have been fertilized, and eventually some are going to win out than others. So you'll get about 2, at the most 3 worms out of 1 egg. Yeah.
That's multiplying pretty fast.
Yeah.
No, estas son compradas, son lombrices especiales, se les llaman lombriz roja y en inglés red lombriz, que son especialmente para la composta. Ellos se comen más o menos entre se pesan por según lo que
In a good system, laboratory conditions, the worms that we're using, these are like composting champions. These are red wigglers. They also call them tiger worms because they do look a little striped. They do look a little striped once it gets on this. See, they call them tiger worms because yeah. But these are red wiggler worms. These are the composting. These are the Olympic champions of composting.
Fantastic.
These worms in a laboratory conditions, they found them to eat 100% of the body weight a day.
Okay, so this bin has holes at the bottom? Yes, they do. Look.
Okay.
So these worms will eat in a laboratory optimal conditions. Will eat 100% of the body weight a day. So if your house produces 2 pounds of food a day that can fit in, you want at least 2 pounds of worms. At least you would like more because no house is going to be exactly laboratory conditions, perfect temperature, perfect water. So you're going to figure you're going to go drop to about 70% of their body weight a day is what they can eat. So if you have 2 pounds of food that you throw away, you want at least 3 pounds of worms to be able to process it. If you start noticing that it's not breaking down, starting to smell or whatever, you don't have enough worms for what you're feeding them. So you either want to get more worms or quit feeding as much. Yeah. Yeah, until they reproduce and start,
Como ahorita, si necesitan y si ustedes quieren empezar
this is a system, and the reason we use this type of worm as well is because these worms actually, when they eat, they burrow and they actually mix the soil for you. So, yeah, even better. If you guys can't find one of these, what you can do is, imagine a Tupperware bin. Those bins, what you would do, you would get 2 of them, right? 2 of them with two lids, okay? And you're gonna poke holes in the bottom one and put your lid on the bottom to catch any kind of fluids or whatever that would come out. So that's what you would do. And then you would keep them in there. You can do that. If you don't have 2, you can do it with 1, but harvesting becomes a little more difficult. What you can do is when you're harvesting, when you're ready to harvest, what you can do is get everything, push everything to one side. Right, everything one side, and then feed on this side, and the worms will leave where there's no food, go into where there's the food, and then you just harvest what you need. And another way to do it is get something like that, like the little telita, put it on the side, and feed one side, and then they'll go through, and you just harvest over here, and then feed this side. So they'll keep going back and forth. Instead of doing up and down, they're doing side to side. So that's another way, another easy way to do it. If you can't find this type of system, there is those those ways to do it. And if you don't want to do it that way, you want to use the whole bin, harvesting becomes even more difficult, but it's still possible. What you can do is get one of those bins, poke a couple holes for drainage, and just put everything in there. And then when you're ready to harvest, what you're going to do is get a tarp and just put everything on there and make little volcanoes. Just grab, little volcanoes, and the worms are kind of like vampires. The sunlight will actually kill them. In about 4 to 5 minutes, they'll start dying. The sunlight will actually kill them. So what they'll do, they'll burrow into the center of the pile, and you scrape off the top of all the little volcanoes you made, and then make more volcanoes. And you just keep doing that till you have all your worms and you have your cat, you know. But that's going to take you a lot longer, a lot more, you know. Yeah, I go this way. You know, but you can't do it that way. But the worms they found in laboratories that sunlight will actually kill them. They're allergic to the red spectrum. You know, they're allergic to. It'll kill them. But what you if no, that wouldn't do it. That wouldn't do it. No. It's got to be sunlight, and what a lot of commercial people that have sell worms like for fish and stuff like that, what they do, they have them in like this off the ground so they can't get out, and they put fluorescent lights at the bottom. So as soon as they go down, they'll go back up because they don't want to be in the light. That's just a way to keep them, you know, concentrated where they want it. So yeah, this is the final product you're going to be coming out with. The reason they say that this is like the best stuff, it looks like coffee, but I want to drink it. But the reason they say that this is the best stuff to use, I mean, it has no smell. I mean, it's completely clean. The worms actually don't. Worms have a gizzard. I don't know if you ever took anatomy of a worm. They do have a gizzard, so they sometimes do take bites of food accidentally. So they do need a little bit of gravel and stuff like that. That's where your eggshells will come in. You have to grind them up really fine. But worms actually eat the bacteria that eats the food. So this comes out pretty much sterile. There's no bad bacteria, nothing like that. So it's actually pretty clean. And the reason we want you guys, we talk about this is, like I told you, I would harvest 18 wheelbarrows out of my compost bin. But I would actually start in the first one. I would start with 28 wheelbarrows. And then the next one would go down to about 20. And then in stage 3, when I harvest, I would get like 18. And then what I would do is I would feed one wheelbarrow to my worms, and out of that one wheelbarrow, I would get 1 5-gallon bucket. So that shows you how densely nutrient this is. It went from 28 all the way down to 5-gallon bucket, 5 gallons. After we process, that's why we recommend, we push this a lot, because it just a little bit goes a long way.
And you can't overuse.
You can't overuse. You can go right now, dump this on a tree and leave it, and the tree's gonna love you. It's not gonna burn. It's not gonna do anything. So that you cannot overuse. You can throw a seed in there, water it, and it's gonna grow. You can't do that with Miracle Grow. You can't do that with the commercial fertilizers. It's not gonna do it. And this you can't use. And this one is a lot harder to make, the worm one. So I mean, the compost, regular compost is like 20%. We go like 10, 15 on this one. But if, like I said, if you put 50% in it, it's not gonna hurt your plant. You're just gonna use more of it. Yeah. No problem. No, we're pretty much we're at the tail end of it. Yeah, all that up there is up for grabs. So we are having a raffle for one of these.
You have to be present. I'll look online. That's fantastic.
But you can go to the Sunsweet's transfer station in Salinas, where she works, and you can get these. They subsidize them, so you get it for a lot cheaper. So yeah, so this is the kind of stuff that you want to feed them. You can't eat, your office, shredded paper. The only kind of paper you want to stay away from is colored paper, like fluorescent and blue paper, all that. You want to stay away from those. You can use regular white paper. You can magazine paper. Not magazines, because it's got that glossy finish to it. You can use newspaper, but stay away from the glossy newspaper. The ads. The ads are glossy. Yeah, you can use that. You can use colored newsprint, as long as it's not glossy. The reason being is because it is basically wood pulp, and since the mid 80s, they kind of got in the trend of using a soy-based ink. So even the ink is good for them because it's made from soybeans. So before that it was synthetic ink, stuff like that. But since about the mid 80s, they started using a soy-based ink. So you can just use your standard newspaper, throw it in there, and eventually it'll break down. And it's good to use. It's good to use paper anyways as a good cap, because it's like your lawn. You put that wood mulch so it stays moist, so you don't use that much water. So you would put the water, put it on there, and
also if it's too moist, then if you put it, the paper will absorb.
No, it won't absorb it. It'll keep the water there. It won't let it evaporate. And these worms, they do have a temperature range that they're comfortable at. You want to keep them about warmer than about 72, but no warmer than about 85. If you get colder than 72, they start kind of getting like kind of cold. They kind of start hibernating. They won't produce it. If they get above 85, they start dying.
Like something like this to keep it outdoors in the sun?
No. It's in the hot summer.
Right here gets lighting to a house.
Yeah, so you want to put it under a tree in the shade somewhere. Under an awning, something like that. In the winter, if it gets below 70 something, put them in your garage. That's as much as protection as any. But they do have a temperature range that they prefer. So as long as you keep them in that temperature range, they'll reproduce, they'll eat, they'll constantly be giving you some product. Yeah, I mean, like that, you would like this one, you would just keep it under a tree. Yeah.
Over there in the shady part.
I don't know if they got that information about the
Sí, eso no lo estaba diciendo ahorita. ¿Verdad que tienen muchas sombras ustedes acá, verdad? Sí. Porque estaba diciendo que si no ponen afuera en el sol, se pueden hasta cocer y morir como los gusanos. Tienen que estar en una temperatura.
Ya ve que luego se meten los vagos y también para afuera llegamos y ya no están. Porque el agua está más fácil.
Y ahorita como allá tienen el agua, pues están brincando. You know the mist that they have for especially, it's on now. So
What we're going to do now, we're going to get you guys some raffle tickets and see who's going to be the lucky one to take the worm bin home.